Okay, we are continuing with Algebra 7-4. Now we're going to be dividing polynomials. So we just have to remember when we divide, when you're dividing by the same base, what you do with the exponents. And then we're going to look at our negative rule again. So again, the quotient rule when you're dividing, when you have the same base and you're dividing by the same base, you subtract the exponents. Okay? Then remember the negative rule. Now the negative rule states when you have a negative exponent, it makes it the reciprocal of that base. So you're going to be 1 over x to the a power if you don't want a negative exponent. And if your exponent is in the denominator and it's negative, to remove that negative exponent, you just put it in the opposite location. If it's in the denominator, you're going to move that up to the numerator. If it's in the numerator, you're going to move it down to the denominator. A negative exponent does not make the base negative. So again, last unit we talked about negative exponents. A negative, or 3 to the negative second power, that means it's 1 over 3 squared, which would be 1/9, not negative 3. Now if the base is negative, that's a different story. So the base is negative. If we have a negative second, that'd be negative 3 to the second power. You're still going to bring it down to the denominator. If the negative exponent, to get rid of the negative exponent, doesn't change the base though. Now though, what changes the base is because it's negative 3 squared. That changes to negative 9, or positive 9, excuse me. So it'd be 1/9. Now if it was a to the negative third power, that would be negative because it's a negative 27. So just remember for negative exponents, it's just changing the location of where it is. Denominator, bring it up. Okay, so finding the quotient. Now, finding the quotient, so you have 18xy plus 22x cubed y minus 15xy squared divided by 3. I want you to look at this as 3 different division problems. I want you to look at it as 18xy divided by 3 plus, because that's a positive, 22x cubed y divided by 3 minus 15xy squared divided by 3. Look at it as 3 separate problems. Now you can simplify. Well, 18 divided by 3, you can do that. It doesn't affect the variables at all. So 18 divided by 3, you're going to 6xy plus, now 22 thirds, I would just leave it 22 thirds. It's not pretty, but you can do it. It doesn't affect the exponents and the variables at all. And minus 15 divided by 3 is 5. So that would be your solution there. You can divide. Now this just has a variable, or excuse me, a number, a constant. So you're only looking at the number part. Now this one has a coefficient and a variable. Okay, so it has a number and a variable. So same thing, I would split it out to 3 different problems. Now this is a negative 6x squared divided by 2x, positive 2x divided by 2x. Okay, so this means, so divide the coefficients. 12 divided by 2 is 6. X cubed divided by x. This is where you subtract come in. Well, you have 3 x's that you're multiplying out of the numerator and 1 x down here. So you have 2 more x's in the denominator, excuse me, in the numerator. This one, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then you have 1 more x in the top, so that's also in the numerator. Then you have 2x divided by 2x. Well, that's a 1. Don't make that 0. Put plus 1. Okay, a lot of people make that 0. Well, that's 1. 2x divided by 2x is 1. All right, so same thing here. 24z to the 4th divided by negative 6z squared minus 16z divided by negative 6z squared minus 12z divided by negative 6z squared. Do each of them individually. Now, 24 divided by negative 6, that's a negative 4z. Oh, negative 4, but then look, you have 2 z's on the top. Then this one, be careful. Negative 16 divided by negative 6. Okay, those are both negative, so it's going to be positive. But 6 doesn't go into 16, but we can reduce. We can simplify. Divide each by 2, you get 8 thirds. Okay, so you get 8. Oh, wait a minute. Something's wrong. This needs to have a 2 on the top, I think. In your original problem, because that should have been combined, I should have noticed that, put a 2 here. It's negative 16z. So negative 16z squared. So put a 2, put a 2. Okay. Now, negative 16 squared. So that's going to be 8, positive 8/3. These z's cancel. You have z squared and z squared. Okay, so those cancel. Then this one, negative 12 divided by negative 6, that's a positive 2. But look where we have more z's. We have more z's in the denominator. So we have more z's in the so this is a weird one, but that's okay. It's going to look like that. So a negative 4z squared plus 8/3 plus 2 divided by z. And that's like z over 1 if you want, but that's okay. All right, same thing here. And let's make sure all these are written correctly. But negative 14 x 12 y to the 5th divided by 7x squared y squared plus 7x squared y squared plus 7x squared y squared. Well, if those are exactly the same right there, I can tell that's going to be plus 1. But let's look at this one. Negative 14 divided by 7. Don't subtract these, it's division. So it's negative 2. Now look at your x's. Which one has more x's? Well, this in the numerator has x to the 12th and denominator is x squared, so you have more x's in the numerator by 10. The y's, you have 3 more y's on the top. But then put plus 1. Don't put plus 0 here. Okay, so that should be negative 2 x to the 10th y cubed plus 1. Don't make that 0. Anything divided by itself is 1. Okay, let's look at practicing finding these quotients. Same thing. I just like to rewrite it in like 3 separate problems. Whoops, 12. M to the 4th, 4m minus 14m cubed divided by 4m. Okay, all right. So then look, if you want to pause it and try it yourself, please do. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So you can use the 1 or not use the 1, either one. But m to the, so you have more m's. You have 4 more m's in the numerator. Then we have 3m cubed. Okay, negative 14 divided by 4. 4 can't go into 14, but it can be simplified. They're both positive. So that's going to be 7 halves. And you have 2 more m's on top. So 7 halves. Or you can do this, or you can do this. Either way. For that last one. And that's fine there. Okay. 56, x to the 4th, y to the 5th. So this one's not too difficult. You just have to watch your simplification. 7x squared y squared minus 35x squared y cubed. Watch that. Ooh, okay. Be careful there. Okay. And you just need to know your division facts. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. Look at your x's and look at your y's. You have more x's and y's on top. So this is going to be 8x squared y to the 3rd. Now that's a negative. It's going to be a negative 7. Now be careful here. No, this one wasn't the one. X, you have 1 more x, and then you have 4 more y's. The last one's where you have to be careful. So we had negative 5. The x's cancel. You had x squared and x squared, so those cancel. But then you have y. Oh, no, that's y cubed and y. That's not bad. And there's extra y in the top. I don't know why I was thinking that was reversed. Okay, so number 7. This is a popular type of question to where 2 people work it out, and you got to figure out which one is right, and then maybe like justify why they're correct. So George and Marilyn are dividing the polynomials by a monomial. Are either of them correct? Ooh, we don't know which one, and are either of them. When there's a problem like this, sometimes I'll go ahead and work it out myself and not see what they did because I don't want that to sway me. So sometimes I go ahead and I'm going to work it out down here. So 15x cubed plus 12x squared minus 24x. Now dividing by 3x, so I'm going to save time and I'm going to go ahead and do each 3x. So sometimes I'll work it out myself, then go back and see what they did wrong, if they did anything wrong. So this is going to be 5x squared plus 4, 1 more x on the top, minus 8 and nothing. Okay, so this is what I got as my answer. Is there any, oh, George and I agree. Marilyn and I do not. Oh, if you know, oh, look what Marilyn did. Okay, so George is the correct answer on this one. He did it correct. Double star for you, George. Triple star. Okay, Marilyn, can you see what she did? the coefficients are all fine, but notice the x's. They're one above everything. She never simplified the x's. So if you have to explain what they did wrong, Marilyn, if you have to do that, Marilyn didn't simplify the variables. The variables or something like that, but she did it on every single one. She didn't take that in consideration. All right, so that is 7-4. That's just dividing polynomials. I think that is a simple concept as long as you don't make careless mistakes.